Nigeria's stock exchange for the month of August. We see for the ASI, that's up about 0.31%. That's for the month. Then top sector performance, we see 44% rise there for the insurance sector. Year-to-date gains, that stands at 36.31%. That's a big gain this year alone. I'm talking about the first half into this year, and definitely we've seen a lot of moves, especially from the insurance sector. That's for August. All right, let's bring in Mr. Mukhtar Mohammed now, CEO of Finance with Mukhtar, to help us break down the performance. Great to have you on the show, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Laddie. My pleasure. Good morning.
Yeah, so we're entering another month, and definitely investors would like to try and take some cue for what played out in August to get a sense of what to expect in September. How do you see it?
Well, Laddie, like your report pointed out, August was the month of the insurance stock. They are among the 8 of the insurance stocks were among the 10 best performing stock in the market. And you know what was responsible for that recapitalization and also government policies and the documents. So we saw that happen in the insurance sector. So they were on a tick. If you look at performance in the month of August, you realize that despite the positive numbers, you realize that the insurance sector was the key driver in the month of August. And towards the last week, we saw those numbers coming down because, again, the regulators came up with a capital base issue for the insurance stocks, and you begin to see profit taking. So for the financial sector, Laddie, you know, they control most of the market. And again, once you are not getting those numbers, especially those interim results from the Tier 1 banks, it has had a negative impact on that sector. And hopefully when those results come, it could be like a trigger that could see market activities. You've seen the negativity even at the close last week. If you look at the conglomerate sector, that's the industrial goods sector, also you see that last week was not positive. You see profit taking have stepped in there also. So that also, and like we've talked about the insurance sectors already, profit taking stepped in there also. And also oil and gas sector, we saw those numbers come down also, especially with losses from big major like Seplat, Owando and Total. So the when you look at all the numbers, is pointing towards that a lot of profit taking is happening. But again, towards the close of last week, you saw that volume decrease in terms of transaction volume by almost 32%. And that also shows you that a lot of people are waiting for trigger. A lot of people are reshuffling their portfolio. And that trigger, like I said, will have to come from the financial sector.
All right, let's look at the top gainers for the month of August now. We see the likes of that's Mutual Benefits Assurance PLC. That, you know, wrecked a nice gain there, 114.29%. That's a month-to-date gain. Quite impressive. See there, but you know, definitely we did see some other insurance stocks, you know, lose most of the gains from August. But we see the likes of ICO Insurance there. It's about 91% just for the month alone. Veritas Capital Assurance, 65.35%. So definitely domination there from the insurance stocks. Does that continue in September?
No, Laddie, I don't think so. You're already saying that even the markets is not giving them that opportunity to continue. So when that document came out about the insurance sector, when the president signed into law the bill, you saw that was what was responsible for the kind of activities and price movement you saw in the insurance sector. Immediately towards the towards the end of last week, when they came up with the recapitalization base for each insurance, so depending on the type of business, you saw the following day, when that was announced, the following day, the market started having a downward trend. And what you see in those downward trend is that investors are beginning to look at those numbers and beginning to look at insurance stocks that they think they will be able to survive those numbers. And if you look at what you've just mentioned with those gains, if you look at it by where they were like some weeks ago compared to the final weeks of trading, you realize that a lot of them have lost a lot of numbers in terms of profit gain because in terms of price movement because of profit taking that happened during last week. So definitely, I think we'll continue to see that play out in the insurance sector, even going to the month of September, until we begin to get clear-cut policy of insurance stocks that we feel, insurance companies that we think will survive the recapitalization price that has been by the federal government. But again, you also have to look at some insurance sectors have also, stocks have also, you could see that they have stabilized because investors still have a little bit of confidence in them that they will scale this recapitalization drive. The lack of name insurance, their cornerstones, and then you look at Mansard. You see that the numbers, Crusader, you see that in terms of price movement, they've now gone to that corridor where we will call the corridor that they are maintaining at the moment is a corridor of stability in terms of price movement. You have seen them relatively stable in a particular corridor.
All right. So looking at the markets, the market movement generally, for the month of August, August started with the massive rally. Then into mid-August to the end of August, we saw huge profit taking. Is that a sign of what to expect in September?
Well, in September, I think we will still see profit taking, especially in this first week, until, like I said, until those numbers come in from the banking sector. We've not seen those numbers yet. We need to see those numbers. Remember, the banking sector control the drive in terms of liquidity, in terms of price movement, and also maybe 2/3 of the companies listed. And you know what a dividend is to a Nigerian investor. And coming from a place whereby at a point it was said that they may not be paying dividends now, from a company that was not going to pay dividends to a company that will be paying dividends now, especially for the banking sector. So September is going to be a month for the financial sectors. We expect these numbers to come in, and most investors are saying if the bank could pay those interim dividends, then that could be a game changer. Because remember, before now, there was talk of not forbearance, they will not be able to pay just and then at that time, it's only one bank that everybody was thinking was going to be able to pay. But now that has changed, and now what we are seeing is that a lot of these banks will pay those dividends, may be able to still pay those interim dividends, but the amount is not known yet, and so that also could contribute to the type of movement that we will see. For the insurance sector, when those numbers started coming out, half-year results for most of them, you saw that investors begin to take a second look. So investors will still be looking for price move, good price entry point to go in and exit point. If you look at those numbers, especially for those stocks that have made the kind of profit that you have seen in terms of number percentage, realize I call them the trader stocks because a lot of traders seem to trade those stocks. So those stocks are highly volatile. When you look at the fundamentals, if you look at some of them, the price they are selling, how much will they be able to pay in dividend payment? And if you look at their price PR ratio, price ratio, you realize that most of them are almost in double digit, not just double digit of 10. We are talking about almost some of them are up to 69, some of them are up to 70. That tells you that fundamentally there's still a lot of work to be done in those sectors. And when you look at some of those stocks again, you might be thinking that they might be merger and there may be share reconstruction because of the kind of volume some of these stocks are driving in terms of outstanding shares. If you look at the oil and gas sector, you don't expect so much to happen, especially with the advent of Dangote, even if we are still waiting for that logistics part of delivering to almost every part of Nigeria, that will have an impact on those major companies that have their marketing in the estates like Total. And so definitely we might not see so much activity. Oil prices, you said it at the beginning of the show, you've seen a little bit improvement in terms of oil price. But then it's still very volatile because, again, we still have the Russia-Ukraine crisis and the recent meeting between India and China. Also, that could also be a game changer in that spot. For the industrial goods, consumer protection, consumer index has improved. We've seen stability in terms of price. But again, will you be seeing Nigerians buying more, or will we just see the stability help in making household plan? And that could also help in improving consumer index, and then that also will help have an impact in the bottom line. For the telecom sector, we'll continue to see those good numbers being turned up, especially in the area of call, because of the both call and data, because of the increase in terms of telecom price that was backed by NCC. And also don't forget a company like MTN now is more or less we wouldn't call it a merger, but it's type of strategic alliance with former Nine Mobile. So there's a lot of that we're expecting to see in terms of numbers going forward. So September will be a deciding month for the financial sector, but for other sectors, will be wait and see in terms of policy direction and maybe looking for the third quarter what will happen.
All right, so, definitely, even though we did see gains there with the likes of mutual benefits and, some of those insurance stocks like AICO, are there laggards from August that you think investors should be looking at now?
Yeah, Larry, I believe strongly in fundamentals, and I believe strongly that, like we are beginning to see when the chips are down, it's only the strong stocks that remains there. And so, if you are talking about that, ICO Insurance would have been a very good stock to look at, but as it stands now, because of their large share standing, we won't be looking at that. I won't be picking ICO, but I'll give my bet on Cornerstone Insurance. Very fantastic. The numbers were positive. Dividend payments. Very positive the last year end. Numbers, half-year numbers were also very good. You look at Amzam Mansard, you look at the holding structure of Amzam Mansard, that also gives them a lot of boost going forward. I don't think they'll have challenges in terms of recapitalization, though the half-year result was not that fantastic as what investors were thinking. Don't take your eyes off them insurance. That's a stock that I've taken investors from the beginning of the year up to this moment. Also, in terms of price movement, Crusader Insurance, that's a stock that I keep taking investors because, again, you're looking at the Crusader insurance company that also play the pension fund spec. So it's more or less like you have a pension fund company listed and you have an insurance company listed just in one. So that also is a good stock to look at. So for me, those are the insurance stocks I will be looking at if I am a player in that sector because of the strong fundamentals going forward. But when you look at the other lags that have done a lot in terms of profit making, you have to look at their history. Most of them have not been able to pay dividend for years. Most of them, their numbers have not been positive until recent pronouncement in terms of the insurance bill that was signed by the president. Then you begin to see activities in those space. So for me, I think these four stocks that I've listed are good. I would have put ICO there, but again, like I said, in terms of the share standing, it's huge, and that has an impact on the bottom in terms of what goes out to the individual investors.
All right, definitely. September just started, and it's quite interesting. It's starting on day one. That's a trading day. But thank you so much, Mr. Mukhtar Mohammed, CEO of Finance with Mukhtar. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, Ladi.